Hi, this is Dr. Brian Ghessi again, and today we're going to talk about your second visit. So today we're going to answer, what are the exam findings? What does this mean? What does reorganization healing have to offer you? What do we recommend? And then we'll talk about finances. So we'll give you all the information that you're looking for. And so the report of findings. So on your first visit, we evaluated the following parameters to give us an idea of how unhealthy your nervous system and body were. And so I looked at your health history, your nervous system exam, spinal exam, muscle tension evaluation, range of motion, breath evaluation, postural evaluation, and took a look at your body awareness. All of those things come together to give me a fuller picture of where you're at. And so we'll go over those findings as we go along, but as I stated in your first visit, the more tension that your nervous system and spine is under, the more problems your body will have keeping you healthy. And that's a really fundamental rule. So the more tension you have, the worse things are. The least amount of tension you have, the better things are. And so if you do at this moment have symptoms, pains, illnesses, problems, then that's a pretty clear indicator that your body and nervous system are already overloaded with too much tension and too much stress. And we want to do something about that. And so what did those exams tell us? Well, I'm going to go over those with you personally at the end of this evaluation. At the end of this video, I'll go over that with you personally. So we'll talk about each one of these things in depth. But just to say that during your first visit, if you noticed that there were problems and we were marking things down in terms of lack of range of motion, lack of spinal flexibility, there were things in your health history, spinal exam was not very good, your breath was shallow, postures weren't very good, that's a pretty good indicator that things aren't going so well. But as I said, I will go over those things with you personally at the end of this video. So, as I said last time, when our body holds on to too much of this tension and stress, we get some of these things happening. We get the degeneration happening in the spine, so we get the changes in the bone and changes the discs of the spine. We get the altered tissue, so we get swelling, we get scar tissue, we get spasms, those kinds of things, which can create injury and discomfort. We get abnormal motion happening in the joints of the spine, so the joints of the spine start to lock up, and that can create all types of movement problems in your spine. And we also, and most importantly of those things, we get nerve dysfunction, which is we get a pinching off of the nerve flow, which means that the communication from the brain through the spine and back up to the brain, and from the brain back down through the spine and out to the tissues and organs of the body becomes diminished, and that can create irritation. It can create organ problems and disease and degeneration and things we don't want. So we want to resolve that situation. So based on the exam findings, what stage are you in? And so what we're looking at here is we're looking at, in this area up at the top, we're looking at the spine from the side. In particular, we're looking at the neck. Up here would be the skull if we were looking from the side. Down about right in here would be about the shoulders. And in between that, we have the vertebra of the cervical spine or the neck. And in a normal spine, we want to see that there's these normal spaces. So these are the bones, and these are the discs and the spaces between each spinal vertebra from bottom to top. We'd want to see that these spaces are pretty well maintained. And we want to see that overall the curve in the spine is that this part, which is around where the ear would be, is pretty much located and lined up with the shoulder, which would be about here. Pretty much a straight line. So let's go back for just 1 second. And what we have going on right here is we have a spine that is in good alignment. So from top to bottom, it kind of has almost like a little bit of a banana type shape to it. That's right for the spine. As we get more tension and more stress in the spine starts to straighten out and lose that curve. So here we have a pretty straight spine. And as we move over, we're seeing more and more tension and stress, and we start to get the spine curving in the opposite direction, and we start to get changes in these spaces between the bones of the spine, and we start to get, as we move forward, we start to get fusions, and we get decreasing of those disc spaces, so collapsed discs. And this is obviously not very good, and ultimately if we leave that alone for too long, we can get complete fusions of the bones and loss of those disc space in the spine, and that will create a lot of problems. Obviously we don't want that. We want the spine to be in this near normal or normal state over here. And so why does your spine get into that place? Well, we have things that create stress in our body. So we have physical stresses, mental emotional stresses, chemical stresses. All of these things play into how healthy or unhealthy our body is, and in particular how well our spine is doing. And so in particular, there's also effects of this stress on the organ systems and the systems of the body. And so it affects the brain and the nerves. It affects the skin, the muscles and joints, the heart, the stomach, the pancreas, the intestines, the reproductive system, and the immune system as well. So when we have too much tension and stress in our life and also being stored in our body, these areas are going to be affected. So it's not just, do I get, am I stressed? It's also, your stress is affecting your entire body from inside to out. So we want to do something to help to limit that. So another way to look at it is, again, stress affects the body, mind, emotions, and behavior. And so we can take a second to take a look at these different things in each one of those categories. But I think a lot of us could easily say that when we're more stressed, these are the types of things that happen inside of us. And obviously these are not the kinds of things that we want to have happen, but this is the symptoms of what happened when we're overloaded with stress and tension. So let's say you have these problems going on in your body, and it's too much stress and too much tension. What happens if you don't do anything about that? Well, I think you can figure it out. This tension is going to continue to build up, and ultimately your body is going to continue to break down. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. It just keeps on building up and building. So we can have this buildup breaking down our body in the physical area, so we can see more illnesses, increased pain, early aging, spinal problems, more symptoms and problems, that kind of stuff. We can also see that it boils over into the mental emotional category. We can feel lower moods, more depression, more anxiety. It can affect our sleep and insomnia, increasing the amount of feelings of overwhelm and stress that we have in life. And ultimately, when those two areas are overloaded, we get a breakdown in life in general. This is going to create more problems with the relationships, more problems with work, increased bad habits. So we tend to drink, smoke, and eat really bad food when we are more stressed, when we feel like we have less time and we're more overwhelmed. The bad habits, they sink in, and we tend to look for those things. And overall, we're going to have less enjoyment and less happiness for ourselves, and also in our time and our quality time spent with our family, friends, and doing the things that we like to do. So it has an effect on many different levels. It's not just one thing or the other. So what we do in particular in this office is we offer an approach called reorganizational healing. And reorganizational healing basically looks to say, okay, we're not just going to look at getting rid of one little symptom or one little problem, but we want to take a bigger picture, and a bigger picture look at what's going on in your spine, your body, and ultimately life that's creating this situation where you're not experiencing the highest level of health that you really should be. And the reality is everyone, no matter what you've got going on, you can experience a higher level of health. And so it's our goal with this particular type of care to allow you to reach a much higher level of health and wellness. And we do that through this approach, which encompasses network spinal analysis, which is also known as network chiropractic, which we use gentle adjustments to the spine to trigger the nervous system to find areas where you've been holding on to tension and stress, and your body hasn't been able to find and release those areas of tension and stress, and learn to locate and release those things so that your body can unwind and become more flexible, less tensioned, and more healthy. We also use another technique called somatorespiratory integration, which is another thing I've taken the time to become certified and learn. And this is a body and breath stress releasing exercises. And these are things that I will teach to you so that you actually have these strategies and you can use these exercises anytime you want to. So you don't have to be in the office to use these things, but you'll actually have strategies and things that you can use to change the amount of tension and stress that your body's holding on to anytime, anywhere, and be able to do that in a short period of time of 1 to 3 or 4 minutes at most. So these are amazing strategies that you'll get to take with you and you will really learn. And learning is something that's really different about what we do in this office compared to most other offices out there. We want to give you the tools and make you more empowered to be better functioning and better healthy in your life. And so I also do things like wellness education and workshops all the time in the office, and I do personal health and life coaching for people that maybe have certain areas that they want to take a look at, whether it's physical or mental, emotional, or lifestyle, diet, that kind of thing, that they want to break through, and they want to work personally one-on-one with a doctor, a wellness doctor, to get those things done. So how does this care help your nervous system? So I'm going to share a little research. There is research on this care. And so what we'll find here is we're going to find on the top, if we look to the right of the screen, the before, and the one on the bottom is a below picture. And what we're looking at is we're looking at the brain from the top down. And this is done in something called a functional MRI. And what they did was they had a woman go in this machine, and the machine recorded her brain's activity as she did particular motions. And what they had is the top one is the first picture, so that's a before picture, and then the second one, as I said, is the after picture. So what they did was they had her do those ranges of motion in the first picture before, and they figured out what parts of her brain lit up. Then they had her go and get a session with a doctor who does the type of work that I do, and then they put her back in the scanner and they had her do the same exact motions again. And what they found out was that on the second picture, less of those areas lit up with that lighter blue and red color than did in the first picture. And what that told those researchers was that the nervous system after the session actually became more coordinated. It took less of the brain's resources and energy to actually do the same exact thing that it took much more of the brain's resources and energy to do before she had the session. So what that basically means is that her body was functioning at a higher level, it was more coordinated, and that's going to lead to less stress and less tension in the body, less pain, less illness, and less overall problems. So you'll feel more balanced and more relaxed, and your brain is going to be able to do what it needs to do in a much better way. So I think that's pretty important to most everyone. And so how does this care help your nervous system, and in particular your spinal cord and spine? So this NSA care, Network Spinal Analysis Care, or Network Chiropractic, creates unique spinal waves during the care. And these waves are only found with this particular type of approach. And what these waves do is they use breath through the spine, so that's called the respiratory wave, and they also use a particular coordination, which is generated from the mind through the body, called the somatopsychic wave, which both go through the spine and release tension. And these have been shown through research that's been done at USC and UC Irvine medical schools. What this shows is that there's increased nervous system coordination, and when this happens, this means that your body can better be able to communicate and coordinate what's going on inside. And the cool thing is that once your body and your nervous system learn how to do these particular waves in your spine, it becomes part of what your body does. So your body will become better at releasing tension and stress in the future. So once you've got it, you don't lose it. So it's a learned strategy. And sort of as a bonus to everything, you will also be able to learn how to handle stress and tension at a better level through what we call somato-respiratory integration. So, which means somato meaning body, respiratory which means breath, and integration meaning bringing together. And so SRI, or somato-respiratory integration, teaches skills where we're going to help you to learn how to reduce your stress, create a calmer body and mind, increase your body flexibility, learn how to use your breath and your breathing more effectively, and increase your ability to become aware of your body and what's going on. Overall, this is going to teach you to obviously get back to a state of peace, ease, and growth in a short period of time, anywhere, anytime. So, pretty important stuff for everyone to learn. So, what makes this care unique? And what can you as a patient expect to get from coming to the office? And so the best way I can summarize this is through a research study that they did on almost 3,000 people that was conducted through the UC Irvine Medical School on outcomes of people under this care. And what the study showed was they looked at a different range of what they called quality of life indicators. So they looked at these particular things on the page, which were physical health and pain, mental and emotional status, stress management, overall quality of life, life enjoyment, and life choices. And those were the 6 categories that they wanted to study to see how people were doing. And so what they found out in the study was that 90 plus percent of the people who were in this study saw improvements in at least 5 out of the 6 categories I just mentioned. And 75% of those people saw changes in 6 out of 6 of those categories. So that's pretty amazing. If a drug company could find something that created a change in just one of those 6 categories, you'd be seeing that commercial all the time. Almost every show would be broadcasting that commercial. And so what this says is that through doing this type of care in my office, what I offer, you can expect to at least, everyone I'm talking to can at least expect to get changes in 5 out of these 6 categories. How would just changes in 5 out of those 6 categories change your life? If you saw changes in 6 out of 6 of those categories, which 75% of people did, that's pretty amazing. That would make a huge shift, I'm sure. So think about the fact that it is, it's been researched and it is predictable. And if those things are important to you, then it's probably you're a good fit for this type of care. And in particular, on the right hand of the screen here, we see a quote that says, NSA care has a direct effect on client-reported wellness that is actually 2 times greater than healthy lifestyle practices, i.e. changing your diet, exercising, and quitting smoking and drinking and that kind of thing. And the reason that NSA care has 2 times an effect than those other types of things is that this is a type of change that when your nervous system and your body starts to shift, that makes such a difference in how you interact with life and how well your body is going to be. What we do here is an inside out strategy. Those other things are more outside in. Inside out always pays the biggest dividends. So when a person is healing, there's really 3 phases of healing. And so these 3 phases are the relief recovery phase, the corrective healing phase, and the wellness phase. So the relief recovery phase is about a 2 to 3 month process. And what this phase is all about is about helping your body to recover back to a baseline of functioning. So that means maybe reducing some pain, increasing the body's function, getting you back to a place where your body is starting to come back online, starting to rejuvenate itself, and starting to take care of some things. However, we have to understand that at this point, that our body, that just because it's doing better doesn't mean it's there. It doesn't mean that it's healed. The healing actually takes place after the relief recovery phase. It takes place in the corrective healing phase, which is around the 6 month or so, 3 to 6 month period. And in this particular stage, this is going to allow for, important to note here, allow for correction of that particular issue. We're going to see changes in how your body is functioning and working, and this allows for fuller healing to take place. So those people that have high levels of pain, high stress in their life. They've had trauma to their spine or body, or they've had emotional traumas. They have neurological symptoms like shooting pains, numbness, tingling, that kind of thing going on, or they suffer from recurrent chronic illnesses. Really, they're going to need at least this level of care if they want to heal and move forward in a much more healthy way. They're beyond the point where any of these quick fixes are going to really create the change that they want. So if you're in that category, understand that you may need a longer duration care plan to help you get where you want. And so ultimately, once somebody's gone past the corrective and healing phase, then we come to the wellness phase, which is all about prevention and ultimately really about growth and improved quality of life. So, depending on where you're at, these different things may be, this is sort of the process that you have to go through in order to get from relief to correction to wellness. But being in the wellness phase is where you want to be. That's where your body, you, and your life start to feel really, really good. And I hope that's what you really want for yourself. And so ultimately, when we're talking about making a change, and that's really what we're talking about in your body, we're talking about making a change that means something. Okay? When your body is stuck in a state of defense, pain, contraction, and tension, not only is your body stuck there, but your mind and ultimately your life are getting stuck in that place too. Take a second to think about that. When you're not functioning and your body's not functioning the way that you want to, guess what? The rest of it can't function the way it wants to either, because you're being slowed down. You're being dragged down by that. And that's not what you want. You want to live a free, happy, fulfilled type of life. And so that's really what this NSA care, or this reorganizational healing care, is really all about. It's about helping your body going from those areas that are stuck and held and painful to going to being more open and free and feeling positive and happy and experiencing life at the level that you want. I hope that's something that, you go, yeah, that is what I want. And so how does this care work? Well, NSA care is, like I said in the beginning, is not merely about resolving a symptom or a pain only. If you want just that, to resolve a symptom or a pain only, you could pop a pill, you could ignore it, you could go to see almost any other chiropractor and and they just do a little quick little thing, and maybe the pain and stuff would go away for a little while. But is that really about resolving your issues? Is it really about moving forward and living a happier and healthier life? It's really not about that. That's actually just going to keep you in that cycle of going from sort of feeling okay to feeling bad, to sort of feeling okay to sort of feeling bad. I'm saying you want to get out of just sort of feeling, even though just sort of feeling okay. You want to get to feeling good, feeling great, doing what it is that you really want to do with your body. That's what it's about. So in that way, this reorganizational healing and the network spinal analysis care is really designed to be practiced as part of a regular wellness routine. My clients come in regularly after a while, not because they have things that they have to get rid of, but because they're feeling good and they want to keep that feeling going. So that's really my desire for most of my patients, that we go from that relief recovery phase to that corrective phase, and ultimately into that wellness phase where you're coming into my office because you feel good. You're getting more out of your body and more out of your life. You're enjoying your time with your friends, family, and your recreation on a whole new level. And believe me, I don't care what you have going on, what symptom, what problem, you can get to that place. I've seen it so many times, and you're no different. And so how is this care offered to you? So NSA care is structured based on the clinical research, that clinical research that I talked about earlier on those 3,000 people, which predicts that what type of changes will be made in your body and life at predictable points along the process. So through that study of 3,000 people, we were able to tell what types of changes your body would see at different points. And so from that, we've created a system of care which allows us to predictably know that you're going to see these changes in the different categories predictably over time. And so I offer plans which are targeted at 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months to achieve these clearly defined changes in your physical health, your emotional well-being, your handling of stress, creating a better and healthier lifestyle, and overall getting a greater quality of life. So if you want to be like those people in the study who got those changes, almost everybody in this got at least 5 of the 6, if not 6 out of the 6 of those categories I talked about, this is the way to do it, and I can help you do that in the office. And so ultimately, when you're trying to create a change, which is really what it's about, understand you can't change the past, and you can't change anyone else around you, and you can't change this world around you. But the one thing you can change is you can change yourself. And understand that when you change yourself, you make a change how you're functioning internally, the way that you're feeling and how you're seeing things. That's going to change everything that you connect with in your life moving forward from that point. Okay? And so that's as big of a selling point as I can make to you. When you make that change, you're going to start to see changes happening inside and outside. And that's a big, big thing. And so finally, where are you at right now? After, the examination yesterday and coming into the office probably with something going on that brought you to the office, where are you at? And so this is this illness and wellness continuum. And we have on the left, we have premature death. So death that's happening before its time. And on the right, we have high level wellness. And in between those two arrows, we have, going from the left to the right, we have disability, symptoms, and signs on one side of that, on the left-hand side, and then we have awareness, education, and growth on the other side. So understand that in our normal healthcare paradigm, that paradigm is really just about getting rid of your disability, your symptoms, or your signs, or those things that are going on, and really getting you to that middle point, which is we would call the neutral point, which is no discernible illness or wellness. Now understand that no discernible illness or wellness may be in our modern culture what we call as healthy. But understand that's not really healthy. That just means that at that moment you're not displaying any signs or symptoms or pains. But that doesn't mean you're doing well. You're just at the same place you basically were, minus a few things that you didn't like to feel. In order to actually become healthier and move forward, we have to get beyond that neutral point. And that's what reorganizational healing is really all about. It's really all about that right side of the screen, which is about creating a new awareness of you to your body and what's going on and how things are going on, getting you more educated to how you can better take care of you and yourself and your body, and ultimately how you can grow so that you're not that same person that kept producing all of those symptoms, illnesses, pains, and problems, but you have a new system, and you're a new person that can create more health, happiness, and enjoyment in your life. And that's really what it's about. So if you look at this thing and you say, well, I don't think I'm not really on that right side of the screen. I'm really suffering from more symptoms, signs, pains, illnesses. But I think my body and my life would be better served to be on the right-hand side of this thing. Then you're in the right place, because that's where we're going to help you get to. And that's my goal with you. And so really it just boils down to, at the end of the day, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be for the rest of your life? What do you want for your health and life going forward? Where do you want to be in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, ultimately the rest of your life? Because whatever you're doing now, that's what you're living for. And so if where you're at doesn't seem like you want to keep repeating that pattern on and on and on, and you want something different, then now's that time to do something different. And so can you really afford to not do anything now? That's really a big question. It's one that I'd ask you to think about. Can you afford to do nothing at this point? So only you can answer that. And so what do we recommend to help you recover and move forward in life? Well, we're going to go over the care plan options and the finance options. And I'm going to do that with you. I'm going to review that with you one-on-one. I like to do that one-on-one because we have to work that out, and I want to be able to sit down and really take you through the options and have you fully understand what those options are and how your finances can work, and we'll make it work for you. And so that brings us to the end of this video, but I look forward to seeing you at your second visit, and I look forward to sharing with you how you can live a healthier, more fulfilling life through reorganizational healing and care in my office. And your choice is to live a healthier and better life, which is available to you. And I am dedicated to helping you reach health and life goals, whatever level you desire. So I will see you at your next visit. Thanks.